Okay, welcome to another Friday Technique video. Today we're going to go over the Sumo Deadlift. The Sumo Deadlift works the hips a lot more than conventional deadlift. If you're bad at the Sumo Deadlift, then guess what? You need to do it more. I use the Sumo Deadlift in training quite a bit and then pull conventional in meets. For myself, I went from a 764 deadlift, didn't pull another conventional deadlift for 6 months, pulled all sumo, went to the meet, pulled 804. So it directly correlates to getting a bigger squat, stronger hips, and it will help transfer over to your conventional pull because your lockout will get a lot better because you'll have a lot stronger hips. So we're looking at the Sumo Deadlift. There's a couple things that we want to look at as we set up. One, in the Sumo Deadlift, everybody wants to be right on the bar when you start. That doesn't mean you want to scrape your shins, but you want to be as close as possible without scraping them. So we want to be right up on the bar. Now, your setup as far as where you're at will depend on your height. If you have someone who's shorter, they're going to be inside those rings because that is going to be sumo for them. You have someone who's 6'9", they're going to be way outside the rings because that's the proper height for them. So you want to make sure you adjust the width. Don't just always say, hey, have your feet by the rings, because there's a big difference between 5'9" and 6'9". So make sure that you adjust the foot stance per the person. There's something called individual expression of skill at mastery. What that means is, once you get to a mastery level, an elite level lifter, you're going to adjust. So you might see an elite level lifter with a closer stance or a wider stance. Depending on the strengths and weaknesses of that lifter, that's what they found where they can lift the most weight. But you don't want to watch the best squatter or the best deadlifter and say, that's how I want to do it, because when they get to that mastery level, you're going to have an individual expression of skill. So we're talking about these basic setups. We're talking about the beginner to intermediate lifter. So we're not talking about Steve Goggins. He doesn't need help with his deadlift setup, okay? So we're going at what everybody should do. Once you're at a mastery level, yes, then you can make some minor changes to maximize our leverages and our strengths. So we want to be right up on the bar. For myself, it's right inside the rings is where I set up. Now, shoes, I do not recommend Jordans for deadlifting. This is what I'm happy to be wearing today. Chucks, barefoot, Vibrams, whatever you want to deadlift, you need that flat sole, something that puts you close to the ground. Anything that lifts up or has a smushy sole, it just gets you further from the deadlift bar, so we don't want that. So when we're setting up, you can either take your air at the top, you can take your air at the bottom. Myself, I don't have the flexibility to be able to get good air at the bottom. I always take my air at the top, hold it until I get set up. Hand placement. Hand placement in the Sumo Deadlift, we want to make sure that as we come straight down, our hands are straight down. Now, when we go to whichever hands are underhand, for me, it's now this hand because I tore this bicep. So now it's this hand. The overhand, when I place it, I have deadlift bars, some of you may not. Either way, wherever you place the overhand, the underhand has to be about a ½ inch wider. The reason is when you go to under, that moves your hand forward, and if you bring it out a ½ inch wider, now it evens it, it'll stop you from windmilling. That's a very tiny little trick that helps a lot of people stop it from windmilling, which could lead to lower back injury. Now we're going to look at how we pull the Sumo Deadlift. So we'll look at how we pull the Sumo Deadlift. So we've already got our stance. We know how wide we should be. Toes slightly pointed out. If you are dealing with a female who's extremely flexible, they don't need to turn their toes out as much. They can turn it forward a little more. That actually will tighten their hips up, give them a little better setup and a little better leverages. So when we're set up, toes pointed up, slightly pointed out, bar nice and tight to the shins. I'm going to take my air before I go down. We grab the bar, we want to make sure that we're creating tension. The worst thing we can do in a regular deadlift or a sumo deadlift is drop our butt below our knees. We're not doing a squat, we're not doing an Olympic lift. So when we go to set up, this is not a good sumo deadlift setup. Okay, my hips are below my knees or right at my knees. There's no tension in my arms. That's not going to give you a good deadlift. Remember, deadlift is a hinge. So what we want to do, we want that bar to move in a straight up and down pattern. We don't want the bar to move forward or backwards. So as we get our setup, butt slightly above the knees, bar stays nice and tight to the body. Then when we lower the bar, same thing, knees out, butt back. Straight up and down on the way up, on the way down. A couple of things you want to avoid. Knees coming forward is something you'll see a lot. When people set up, they're like this. If your knees are like this, there's no way for that bar to come up. You have to push those knees out, keep that straight up and down. So knees out's a big cue, chest up. Creating tension in the bar is something we really have to learn here. So if they're having trouble with it, again, we can drill that with just setting up, feeling that tension, setting it down. That's a drill I like to do with beginning lifters. We want to set that up, straight down. Watch the bar path. You'll know if people are doing it right. So from the side, like where we are from this video, that's why we changed angles. From a 45-degree angle of a coaching standpoint, you can see the knees better and you can see a little bit of the bar path. So depending on what you're seeing from the athlete, your vantage point as a coach will change and be able to help you coach them as coach the lift. So we want chest up, knees out, those are our big cues. That setup wise, make sure, because we have some tall athletes that need to be out. But also remember as they go out, that's going to put more stress on the hips. So if they have very weak hips, if you bring their stance in a little bit, then they'll be able to get their knees out a lot more. If you have a tall lifter with very weak hips, you move them out to where they really should be, then their knees are just going to collapse because they aren't strong enough to support that. Bring them in a little bit, they'll be able to keep those knees out. Always remember when lowering, hinge back, the bar has to go straight up and down. Thanks, this has been another Friday technique video. Check us out on Facebook, Spot Athletics, or check out our webpage, spotathletics.com. Keep the comments coming, we get some good feedback on these. Also suggestions for other videos. Sumo Deadlift was a suggestion some people sent in. So if you give us your suggestions, we'll be glad to do the videos. Thanks, have a great weekend.